Hello and welcome to another edition of Out of Bounds. We are back live with a late game. We was having some technical difficulties with the internet with the last stream. I do apologize for that. I think we got everything under control now. If you was able to catch the game with the Lakers and Orlando Magic, they did get the win tonight, and we're going to be able to speak with Coach Vogel, coach from players, post game, and kind of get takes on the game from people that are actual contributing to the game. The Lakers did get the win 114-103. Great game overall. Hopefully this is a trend in the right direction for the Lakers, after losing the two heartbreakers in Dallas. Hopefully this is something that we can hang our hats on as Laker fans to be able to see exactly if they're going to be able to maintain a level of consistency when it comes to stringing together wins, just because the season is so tight. We're getting closer and closer to playoff time. So hopefully we're able to, see a trend in this, level of consistency when it comes to winning and things like that. So right now we're just waiting for, Coach Vogel or a player to be able to take the podium to be able to address the media. So we're currently waiting for that. Shout out to Big Baby, the Big Baby Sports Podcast. He's always on the stream. Definitely glad to see the support out there. We do have a couple people that are logging in right now. So hopefully we are going to be able to, get a question in. Again, I do apologize if you last stream with the Dallas Mavericks. I didn't get a chance to my question before the internet, unfortunately got me out. So hopefully we got that control. As far as the internet, it's just unfortunate. It was right in the middle of my question. I had a great prepared question. I wrote it down, and the internet just would not let me be great. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. Hopefully we actually get the question off and be able to great content as far as the game takes on that for the actual players and coaches that participated in the game. So while we're waiting, let's just take a couple look at some game stats as far as this game against the Orlando Magic. Starting with Andre Drummond, he had 13 points in 25 minutes, 10 rebounds. Andre Drummond is just a monster when it comes to rebounds. Oh, so let's go back down to the podium real quick.
No.
How are you?
Doing all right.
Can you spotlight us?
Yes, give me 1 second.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sam, I think we're ready. All right, Dan Workey.
Eddie, you talked a little bit about kind of the challenge of finding on-court chemistry after the last. Can blowing a lead like and having to figure it out on the fly, are these the kinds of things that can build back up? And what did you see up front kind of from the group and staying together in this game?
Yeah, I think the quarter was terrible on both ends of the floor. We're still trying to, figure things out. But like you said, to be able to blow that lead and still able to win this game, still able to figure it out on the fly, in-game adjustments and everything like that, it's a good sign. We're still, competing both ends of the floor. This team made some tough shots. It's always, tough to win in this league, but especially here trying to build our chemistry, so it kind of puts us behind the eight ball even more. But, we're still figuring it out and thinking about it. We're able to get a win while doing so. But it'll come around. We're going to use these last. I think we have 11 games left now to continue to try to figure that chemistry out and do it while we're getting wins as well.
Kyle?
Hey, Dave. Seemed like, especially in that second quarter, Orlando was really tough to do when you had the ball. You had 5 turnovers. What sort of your feel in getting that feel back for handling the ball, making moves, and when teams bring that pressure on you?
Just doing that, just handling the ball and protecting the ball a lot more. Obviously, we're still trying to figure each other out. So the moves that I'm want to make, guys are either cutting or doing things that they usually wouldn't have to do. And so it was like a lot of miscommunications. And like I say, still trying to find a rhythm. I mean, dribbling ball, turnovers on that. Defense had some pokeaways at the ball and ended up knocking me last. So there's little things. They'll come around with rhythm. I probably won't ever have 5 turnovers again in the game. But like I say, the team kind of covered up those mistakes for me with big plays, sourcing, especially Dennis, Trez, and Ben coming off the bench and bringing that energy for us. So Kendi played great, Kuz, Drum, everybody. So I'm still getting game rhythm. Those things going to come around eventually, but no matter how long it takes, their turnovers are unacceptable for sure.
Dave?
AD, the broadcast cameras caught you sharing a look with Dennis after the game ended when you were kind of dapping up everyone. It was kind of like a look of relief, maybe almost like, wow, we escaped with this one. How vital was Dennis tonight, and how has his role grown? Frank likes to talk about silver linings. Do you feel like he stepped his game up to a different level with this group in the time that you and LeBron were missing?
Yeah, he had to. He had to, and it's shown. He made some big shots down the end. I think he scored like 8 straight for us. But at the end of the game thing was that I finally made a three. So that's what that was about. That's all that was. Like, thank you. The fact that we finally got a win. Like I said, we dropped 3 straight, and we never want to do that. So the fact that I 3 finally, probably like 1 for 18 or something, and then we were able to get a win. We just finally now let's get this thing rolling. So that's all that was. He's been playing huge since I've been back, and when I was out, figured it out for still keeping us flowing in the mix.
Bill?
Hey, AD, staying on Dennis, just what do you think when you guys are whole again and LeBron's back? How much of this is going to be sustainable when you guys are fully healthy?
We need him to be the same Dennis. He's making the right reads. He's making great plays. He's finishing, shooting the ball. We need him to do the same thing. We want him to kind of fall back, when Bron comes back, even though Bron does handle the ball a lot, but we still want him to, push and get in the attack and finding seams, finding guys for open shots, making those right passes and those right plays. And that's what we're going to need from him in order for us to win the championship.
A couple more, back to Dan.
AD, being back in Orlando for what I assume was the first time since last year in the bubble, did you think at all about that experience? And I guess what things did that team have last year that you guys most need to recapture during this playoff run?
I didn't think about it at all. I mean, we made a joke in our little group text, and made a little joke about it. But after that, it was not at all. Well, I didn't. But that chemistry. I mean, when you're stuck in the city, in a hotel for 100+ days or something like that, you have nowhere to go, nothing to do but be around your teammates. And so that builds chemistry. And if we were able to do the same thing, our chemistry would be on another level. Obviously, the protocols are different, so we can't do that we were able to do last year, whether we're at home or on the road. And so guys have families, home, your family, and things like that. So the experiences on both sides are totally different, but we're still finding our chemistry in ways that we can while following the protocol. And I think we're starting to find that rhythm, find that chemistry. Whereas last year, we had no choice, and we were stuck together for so long.
Last question, Harrison Fagan.
Hey, you guys have a couple back-to-backs down the stretch of this season, and I know tired getting asked about your health, but Frank said pregame that the plan is for you to play in both ends of all of those. Are you feeling healthy enough to be able to do that? And is that something that you want to do, like health permitting?
Harrison, I missed 30 games, so I think I had enough rest to be able to play those next back. So I plan to play in both in the back-to-backs that we have.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Did he?
As you can see, AD does look a little bit more frustrated when it comes to questions surrounding his health. You know, I don't understand the concept of why that's a constant topic. He's back now. He did miss 30 games, and he's just really trying to work himself back into the rotation. So I can understand the level of frustration as, you know, the why, you know, this question keeps coming up, you know, about him missing games and things like that. You know, I feel like the you know, we should be asking more so questions about, you know, how his current play is in conjunction with, you know, the team and how they're progressing and things like that. So we got Coach Vogel up, so we're gonna head back to that.
Hey Frank, what were you seeing in that second quarter that turned around eventually in the second half?
Yeah, I think we just took our foot off the gas. Got up to a big lead against a team that has been struggling. You know, I felt like our guys got complacent. Both sides of the ball, we stopped defending. They made 10 of their first 11 shots, and we were into the lines. That can't happen. We're enough to get the game back under control. But you know, aside from the second quarter, played a heck of a basketball game. So pleased to get the W.
Not sure your thoughts on the single game plus minus, but Shooter was a plus 23 tonight. He was impacting both sides of the floor, especially in that fourth quarter. What did you make of his play tonight, Frank?
Yeah, he's really growing, you know, with particularly with his floor general mentality and running the team. Seemed in control and comfortable the whole game, and getting everybody involved. And you know, obviously he's an elite defender too. So you know, great performance by Dennis tonight.
Thoughts on AD in his third game back?
Yeah, finally got him shooting over 50%. You know, it's good to see him knock down some shots. You know, we knew it was going to take a little time for to him to work through the rust, and we saw that the first two games. Got going early in the low post with some one-on-one plays, and you know, knocked down some threes and some long jumpers late. You know, big part of the W.
Kyle?
Hey Frank, Trez has not been the player he was in March and April. I know that has something to do with his minutes, but production-wise, what do you think helped him get back to the kind of guy that you were seeing earlier in the season?
I think we found him better with you know, delivering him the ball in positions to score. You know, a lot of those situations you're talking about where you didn't have big nights. You know, teams will do things to take him out of the game. You know, with whether it's not helping as much on the pick and roll game or double team in the low post. You know, we weren't seeing either of those situations, and we were able to get him the ball in scoring position. So, you know, I don't feel like his production dipped, even if his numbers dipped. You know, because when he's drawing that kind of attention, it's opened up things for other guys. So, but we did a good job getting him the ball and scoring position tonight.
Dave?
Frank, you mentioned Dennis growing in terms of his general mentality. Do you feel like that was accelerated by the injuries to your two main guys? And from there, how does he continue to have that when LeBron returns? Because we know that LeBron is a high usage player and commands such a presence on the court himself.
That's why we feel like it's going to be a silver lining. It was accelerated. You know, not that Dennis hadn't done it in the past, but he hadn't done it with this group, this system, this coaching staff, this set of teammates. And, you know, having Bron out, you know, there's a lot of silver linings. That's definitely one of them to see. You know, obviously when Bron takes the reins back, you know, you're going to have Dennis as an attacking scorer, and comfortable in that situation as well. And then Bron goes to the bench, and Dennis is in the comfort zone of the way he's grown over the last whatever month or 6 weeks, whatever it's been. So definitely, and hopefully when it all comes together, we're going to come together at the right time.
Dan?
Frank, as things are kind of coming apart in the second quarter, the cameras caught guys looking at each other, giving up layups, dunks. I mean, uncontested look. What does it say about a group that they were able to kind of right that ship? And as you guys try to rebuild on-court chemistry, are these experiences extra valuable?
Sure, and everything's about staying connected together. There's always going to be ups and downs in games, and certainly we had some coverage breakdowns. You got AD and Drum haven't played with each other much. They're going to have some nights where their situations are getting used to, and there's some other guys that had some breakdowns as well. So it's just part of the game. Our group has the mindset to build chemistry every time we're on the floor. And to stay connected and work through that stuff, with a positive attitude. And, that's what I loved about our group. That's what halftime was about. Let's not panic. Okay. Let's just get back to what we do, tighten the screws, and we're able to have a great second half.
Got time for two more. Brian Kameninski.
Hey, Frank. Regarding that chemistry question, obviously LeBron and AD being out, but you guys have missed a lot of games, just period, with people. What get whether it's the floor between players, what you guys are able to do staff when you're not able to have that kind of consistent lineup continuity? What are the things that you are go missing, so to speak?
It's just repetitions with one another. The more out there together, the more you're different attacks and different schemes every night. When everybody's out there together consistently, you're able to work through those things, and when they're not, you're not able to. So you just have to kind of piece it together, and there's going to be some things that there's more unfamiliarity
Right.
when the lineups are changing this much, and you just got to play through that stuff.
Does it limit you in any way in what you're able to do?
Well, yeah, I think you don't have the continuity. There's more possessions like you saw tonight, and more stretches like we saw in the second quarter, where unfamiliarity leads to some breakdowns that you have to work through. So it's more of a challenge, but nothing that every coach in the league doesn't go through, and a challenge.
Thank you.
Last question, Jordan Richard. Jordan, you're on mute. Jordan, you're.
Can you hear me?
I can now, yes.
Okay, sorry about that, Coach.
That's all right.
I wanted to talk to you about the pace of the game today. It seems like you guys pushed the tempo, scored a lot of transition threes. It seemed like Dennis pushed the pace. Was that something that you guys talked about, or something that Dennis just went off the field?
Big point of emphasis to start this trip, honestly. We're just looking at, we hadn't had any great running games in our previous homestand, and we wanted to get back to generating offense before the defense is set. The ball out of the net, get it into Dennis flying, so we have guys to advance it up the floor to. And we had possessions in the 2 Dallas games. Got even better with it tonight, and it was definitely an area that we felt like we could exploit. The Magic, who have a whole new team, right? They have more familiarity than anybody, and it's toughest to work through that stuff. Transition defense. So definitely wanted to run more tonight than usual.
All set, Frank.
Will?
All right. Mike?
Hey, Tresh, just wanted to get your mindset about turning things around after that second quarter for the team, what you guys were able to do differently to pull away in the second half.
We were able to come up and stop, and I think that's what it came down to. I think we got to the early lead. We kind of got lackadaisical and, careless and, our effort and energy kind of just went away when we came out to a nice lead, and they fought and we knew this team was going to keep competing. They're a strappy team, even though they have a lot of guys, changing from that. They're still a fighting team, a team that's going to compete all the way to the end, and they gave us their best shot tonight.
You've said pretty consistently it's going to do what the coaching staff asks you. Frank had told us he talked to you about last game, getting Mark some run. Now you're back in and you get the minutes tonight and play well. How does that affect your mindset, Trez, and how did that play tonight, if at all?
I'm a competitor. I always went out there on the floor, especially, like a game, the last game we had. It's just the thing to deal with, man. But I've been in this position before, man. I came in this league and played behind, two centers in Dwight and Nene in Houston. So, and I've been around veteran guys who, taught me how to take this game as a pro. I had great veterans throughout this league, and Trevor Reeves and guys like Will, man. So, it's about being a pro, man. It's about doing the things what the team needs and what the coach is asking you to do at that point in time. That's all I did. I still continue to do my extra work off the court as I normally do, just because at the end of the day, I'm a worker. It's how I've been able to get into this game and stay in it. And I'm just going to keep doing all the little things I told George I always do.
Dave?
Trez, you guys are still waiting on LeBron, obviously, to get the big man rotation now. You guys are all healthy. What do you guys bring as a group, and how is that a strength for this team?
It's a diverse group of guys that do a little different, from each other in every aspect. Dre is a dominant force down low on defensive end and offensive in the middle for us. AD is more of a guy who can, do both on the ball and the way that he shoots it from mid-range and perimeter. Mark is a guy who can out to the three-point line and pick a pop situation, but also roll and play make for us. And, me, I just do all the, energy things, extra plays. When guys find me on rolls and just around the basket, I just try to do my job of finishing for them. Same thing, he's one of those guys, that AD type role, guy that rolls, post up, playing that short range area, but can also extend to three. So it's a complete diverse group of guys. It gives you a lot of things differently when it comes to, getting on the floor.
Well,
Hey, Trez. Last year in the playoffs, Frank, you did a lot of different things with the big man rotation. There were series where neither Dwight or JaVale played. There were series that JaVale didn't play, Dwight did. Markieff came on big. It just changed series to series, and some guys had to take a seat. Is your sense going into these playoffs that it could be the same thing, where there might be a series that the rotation and maybe a series where you are? And how do you feel about that if that's the case?
Be honest with you, Bill, I don't know what they did last year or how they were in or out the rotation and the guys they had, but all those guys you just named, I'm none of them. I'm Montrez. I play Montrez's game, and I do what Coach asks Montrez to do to me. Says I've been knowing all year, playing as hard as I can, the things I can for the team to win, and just coming to work every day. Like I said, Coach needs me to sit a night or anything like that, man. I've done it, as you can see, but that's not up to me. I don't have no control of that. I'm just gonna focus on the things that I can control, and I've known that I'm at my best when I do those things, because if I sit here and start racking my brain on the things I can't control, that I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm going to stress myself out, and it's not going to be any good for nobody. So,
man.
Trez, kind of big picture about this team this year. I mean, you guys have had guys in and out of the lineup, with injuries, with other stuff. Has it been frustrating that this group hasn't fully been able to come together on the court for any real stretch of time? And I guess nights like tonight when, things go really badly for a stretch like they did in the second quarter and you guys are able to work out of it, can that be valuable for a team that's trying to build cohesion and chemistry?
I feel like every game, that we play and the injuries that we have is valuable, and it's a learning process. As far as the not having somebody or the way that the season has went with injuries, everybody's dealt with that, man. You see around the league, still to this day, guys with injuries and going out left and right. It's just one of those we have to deal with this year. We're not the only ones that's going through it. It's multiple teams in the league that's going through it. So I think games are doing a lot for everybody, man. Around the league, it's learning and teaching everybody how to play just through a lot of different adversity. No matter what it's COVID, injuries, rotation. It's a lot this season. And I definitely think last year was definitely one of the seasons as far as going to the bubble and them completing the season. But this is definitely going to be one for the books right here, man. It's the first time guys are out traveling and we're going COVID and playing different protocols and stuff like that. So like I said, last year was definitely one for the books, but this is going to be one for the books as well, man. With guys going through injuries and all the different ups and downs that every team had to go through this year.
Hey, Therese, in that third quarter, you seemed to be getting pretty frustrated. You felt like you were playing through contact and shooting through contact. Had that moment where you got the and one. You flexed a little bit. I was sort of wondering what was sort of the emotional buildup for you during that stretch, and do you sense that the emotion of you getting that and one affected the team in any way?
Honestly, I definitely think it did affect the team because the guys definitely right around that, and it brought that I felt we needed at point of time. As far as it's nothing no different than I do any other game, man. I play with a lot of energy because every day I get to put my shoes on and be blessed to play the game of basketball, to take care of my family and my loved ones. So I'm going to play with the same energy, the same passion every game. I'm out there just leaving all on the floor, like I said, doing the little things and all some things that help our team win and help our team win, really.
Last question, Nick Hamilton.
Hey, Trez, Coach talked about, staying together and pretty much keeping the continuity and continue to build the what are things that helped you build chemistry with this team, especially with this being your first year with the club?
Just all the team bonding that we do, both on and off the court, on planes and in the hotel, different aspects like that, just being around one another throughout the protocol and the safety instances of what we can and can't do. I think we've done a great job of just doing team bonding in those instances of the, all the protocols that we have to, by. I think that, these guys are one of the best at, just building that togetherness, not only off the court as well.
Down there, Tress. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll just wrap question with Montrezl Harrell. I didn't get a chance to get a question in, so hopefully we'll be able to get some questions in with the next player. We don't know who's going to be up there, so we're going to prepare for the next person to come up with another question. I can get a question in about this game. Hopefully they like I said before, get some consistency when it comes to these games, because they're getting to the point where it's getting a little tight race, and you have teams getting closer and closer to full strength and things like that. Teams are really peaking right now at the right time, and Lakers are really in a situation where all these games are coming at a premium. And what I mean by that, every single game matters. Even with this game here, you would look at it on the schedule. Oh, this is a team that the Lakers should be able to beat. This team, they've beaten them before, but the Orlando Magic had a totally different roster than the last time they played. They had the trade deadline. Guys are no longer on the team anymore. So this is a different, basketball team that the Lakers had to face. So that's a little bit of adversity there. So they got down. They were able to respond back and get out of there with the win. But, you still see a lot of things that the Lakers are going to need to tighten, heading into the postseason. If you remember last year, they had got a losing streak before heading to the playoffs when they was in the bubble. They was back in Orlando again for the first time since the bubble, and that was a question that came up, and people were about that experience and things like that. With the question AD was asked, he was asking, did he think about it? He said he thought about it, briefly when group text message, but after that, then he didn't really, go into details about his thought process when it came to that. Obviously, he probably was locked on the game that was in front of them, but it was just a great run that they had, in the bubble. They really exceeded, a lot of expectations. They lost a few games in the playoffs, but they really didn't have any sense of adversity. I never looked at any team that they had during that playoff run that I was really concerned that they was going to lose the series. Portland, before the season did end, before they actually headed to the bubble, I was really concerned. If you remember some of the I had about the Portland Trailblazers, that was one dangerous team that I didn't want the Lakers to have first round. And Damian Lillard was playing out of his mind in that play-in game that they played against Memphis. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be a really difficult task for the Lakers, to have in the first round.
All right, guys, we're still waiting on Dennis. I think it's going to be a moment, so just hang with us. Thank you.
We're waiting on Dennis Schroeder, so he might be the last one. Dennis comes up, he's the last Laker to address the media. So I didn't have a question prepared for Dennis, so hopefully once he gets up, then some of the other questions I can spark some momentum when it comes to a question. But this was a must win, I believe, because they need to have that confidence back after dropping those 2 games in Dallas. I'm really excited for them that they was able to get this win, because like I said before, these games are coming at a premium. They have I think 12 games left, and with the season winding down, and teams are jockeying for position, and it's getting a little tight with the race. Dallas plays Sacramento tonight, which I'm going to cover their post game as well, and they're looking to take over that 5th spot. With the Lakers winning tonight, they can provide a little bit of distance between them and the Mavericks, but the Mavericks are right there nipping at that last that 5th spot. So hopefully, the Lakers can solidify that spot. Hopefully, at some point, with these stretch of games that they have coming up, LeBron does play in, just to get his legs back under him and not just throw him into a playoff situation, because LeBron is a different animal when it comes to the playoffs versus the regular season. And I'm really interested to see exactly how he's going to impact this roster. Obviously, I want to see how he's going to look with Andre Drummond, with AD back, and the rest of the guys they have. They have a lot of versatility with this roster, and I like it. I like it a lot. But obviously, I like that last year roster when they had Rondo and what they were able to accomplish with that group, with JaVale and Dwight and things like that. But I think athletically they have a great big man in Andre Drummond. Then they have some versatility with Montrezl Harrell coming off the bench. They have some versatility with Marc Gasol. The only thing that I would say about Marc Gasol that I'm noticing, with some of the questions that he's being asked, he's not really settled on the role that he has. And you can tell, whenever he's asked these questions about his role on the team, it's very uncomfortable for him to discuss that. He would say things like, I just work here, just doing my job. I do whatever is asked and things like that. Not really excited about the role that he has, which from the human aspect, if you think about the human aspect, just as a person, the Lakers, got him this past off season. They traded away JaVale McGee. I'm not sure if they even they didn't re-sign JaVale. I think he signed with Cleveland. And they cleared the way for them to get Marc Gasol. So mentally, Marc Gasol is thinking that I'm going to be a starter. I'm going to play heavy minutes. I'm going to contribute. But then down the stretch, he doesn't play particularly well. And if you look at some of the games that he had, single-digit points, sometimes 2 points, 4 points here and there, where he's playing the full game, but he's immediately getting in foul trouble. And defensively, he was a liability. He wasn't really playing a whole lot of defense, which if you go back to his career, he's not really known for his defense. And the Marc Gasol that I thought that we were getting at that time was the one that we saw in Toronto that helped them win that championship. His shooting had improved. He was spacing the floor a lot better and things like that. But he's never been just that back to the basket center that we actually needed. We needed a center that was gonna get in there and mix it up with bigs, contend with Nikola Jokic and things like that. But with Marc Gasol, he wasn't that type to get in there and do those type of things. So, they immediately had the Lakers really thinking about what they can possibly do to shore up their front court. Andre Drummond's available. And the rumors were, that, they were going to, aggressively try to pursue Andre Drummond. And a lot of names, during that period, came up. A lot of different ones. And not a lot of them made sense. The only one that actually made the most sense to me was Andre Drummond because of what he can provide as far as like defensively and what he can provide as far as like rebounding on the glass and things like that. And since they've gotten him, he has been a glass eating machine. He has been what the doctor ordered when it came to rebounding the basketball and things like that. His scoring and his offense has been spotty. But if you go back and look at his defense and his also impact on the glass, that's what is going to carry them, when the playoffs get here. That's going to be sustainable because he has been a high performer when it comes to rebounding. And rebounding is an effort stat, and he's going to give you maximum effort on that glass. And that's going to bode well whenever you do have AD and LeBron back in the lineup and the playoffs are here. That's going to work. I don't think they particularly got him for his offense, but he can score the basketball. But it's very, very, very inconsistent for me. Great question came up. Predictions for the play-in tournament. For me, I don't think the Lakers should be focused on a play-in situation. I think that's a situation that they should avoid at all cost because it's just so. At first, like when I saw it last year in the bubble, I didn't really understand the play-in situation. I didn't think the league needed a situation where you can have 10 spots, and because that play-in situation is a playoff game. And I didn't really like the concept because, you can have, this poor record and still compete for a playoff spot. Now, we did have a wonderful treat in the bubble with Memphis and Portland, and you've seen Ja Morant just take over, and he came like really, really close to knocking off the Portland Trailblazers. But if you remember back, the Portland Trailblazers at the stoppage of the season, due to COVID, the Portland Trailblazers were not even in playoff contention. And it was reported that Damian Lillard wasn't interested in going to the bubble because if they wasn't competing in the not able to compete in the playoffs, they didn't want any parts of the bubble, which that was Nick Sun situation. No matter what they possibly did, they went 10-0 in the bubble, still ended up missing the playoffs. They had a chance to get into the play-in game because their record was so poor, before the bubble, and they just couldn't climb into a situation where they were able to actually compete for a playoff spot. So my overall thoughts about the play-in tournament and things like that, as a fan of the Lakers, as a person that follows the Lakers and things like that, I think that situation should be a completely avoidable at all costs. That's a landmine situation that the Lakers are gonna kind of want to avoid. The Mavericks did get out of that situation where they were going to be in that play-in situation, which is really good that they were able to get that monkey out their back as far as the play-in situation. They played phenomenal against the Lakers the last two games that they played. It was great for them and very important for them to get out of that situation. But yeah, I just really didn't like the implementation of the play-in tournament last year. Just to provide some context, you have the top 8 seeds in each conference. Of course, they're gonna make the playoffs. Once the regular season does end, and you have some, the rest of the seeds, I think the 9th place and the 10th place teams, they compete for that spot. You have the 4 team play-in tournament to determine the final 2 spots. The format, how it currently is constructed, you have the 7th place, they will host the 8th seed in a 1-game matchup. Then you have the winner of that game, they will earn the 7th spot. Then you have the 9th place team, they will host the 10th place team in a 1-game matchup. The loser of that game is eliminated. Then you have the loser of the 7th place versus the 8th place. They will host the winner of the 9th place with the 10th game in a 1-game matchup. And then you have the winner of that game that earn the 8th spot in the playoffs. And the loser of that game will be eliminated. From that point, the playoffs will proceed as usual, just as we're accustomed to at that time, once that game is completed. So I feel like, with all that being said, and after I even explained it, completely unnecessary. I just like the way, I'm old school. I like the way things were before that situation. And I just, I don't know. You have fighting for the 6th spot right now. You have in the East, Boston Celtics, Miami, Charlotte, and New York and Indiana. That's your East teams. That's gonna be some interesting basketball games there. I would like to see Charlotte. I would definitely like to see Charlotte get into the playoffs. I think it's a long time coming. I think they had a great chance to make the playoffs, as well as New York too. I think it's about time for New York basketball to enter the playoffs again, and I think they got a good chance to be able to get into the playoffs and possibly make some noise. Obviously your top seed teams, your teams that got targets on the back, your Phillies, your Brooklyn Nets. I don't know about Boston. They're a wild card. Miami possibly in the East, and things like that. The Warriors, let's shift to the West. I think they would be in a situation as far as a play-in situation, and I think it will be good for the league to have Steph back into the playoffs. I mean, this is just been kind of crazy and kind of weird that the Warriors are not competing on the national stage any longer. It's their reign of dominance just came to a screeching halt from a KD injury, which is like crazy to me. Just being able to see that. But then let me just kind of go over that bottom half. That would be in a play-in situation. You got Portland that's in that 7th spot there at 32-28. You got the Grizzlies, which is a great basketball team. They're just young. I think they would be interesting in the playoffs if they were able to some kind of way get in. Then you have the Spurs and the Warriors with the odd team out, the Pelicans. And I would love to see Zion in the playoffs as well. I mean, this is just interesting. I mean, it's not over yet, but you have Portland, Memphis, Spurs, Warriors, all trying to get into position. And I don't want to completely count out Pelicans, but they're really the odd team out, looking in. One thing I want to point out about Houston, the Houston Rockets, they 15-46. They're already completely eliminated from playoff contention, which is the first time in a long time. Every time you think about Houston and the Rockets, they're synonymous with playoffs and competing and things like that. But losing James Harden and losing some of the team's identity, they got new coaching. It's really difficult to be able to see that this team, is last place. They are even worse than the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they haven't really been, great. They've been in the lottery for the last couple years. The Minnesota Timberwolves have. Same thing with the Thunder. I thought that they were looking pretty good in the bubble. They made the playoffs last year, but they lost Chris Paul, and I think that was their motivation and their driving force there. The Kings is just another disappointing season for them. I just think that with the Pelicans, their coaching, kind of grinds on you. Like his philosophy is not resonating with the young guys and the young players because he's an old school basketball coach. One thing that I've noticed that he does call them out in the media. They may ask him a question and he might, say something in the media that, if I'm a young player and I'm trying to find my way, it just really, just grinds on your psyche and things like that. And you could just tell the lack of effort. The guys are, giving up on him. You see some close games and things like that, and you think that they should win. And I think that when you have a player of Zion's caliber, you shouldn't be in a situation where you're in the 11th spot. They have all-star players on their team. They got Zion, they got B.I. Lonzo has really been, doing pretty good. He's resurrected his shot. The shot looks good, but it's just really unfortunate that this team is not in a better position that they're in. I actually like this team. Currently right now they're playing the Clippers, and right now they're holding their own against the Clippers. Now the Clippers is one of the top tier teams in the Western Conference right now, and they got them on the ropes right now. Paul George is playing in the lineup right now. Obviously Kawhi hasn't played in a while. Pat Bev is out as well, but they do have their second superstar, Paul George, playing right now. And he's not making an impact. He's played 25 minutes. He's only scored 9 points in this game. And that's just not going to work. They just paid Paul George, the big dollars and things like that. They re-signed him. And my prediction, this is just off my prediction, as far as like this is not no inside track or anything like that. I don't think Kawhi is going to re-sign if they're not able to make a strong playoff push. And you can really take that to the bank and cash it. I just really honestly feel like the way that Kawhi did his his contract went had my microphone on mute. But just going back to the last game, the last pregame I'd had with the Mavericks just a while ago, I was really upset because I was having some issues with the internet, and the screen just kept freezing. And I already felt like I was about to have this issue because you would see the screen, and then it would have like this white circle, like it was searching for internet. And so I called out to my wife. I said, "Are you having internet issues?" Because I'm on the Mavs pregame, and I was up next to be able to ask the podium question to Coach Carlisle. Had my question already planned out, had everything ready to go. So they got to me, and I had started off asking my question, and the internet just completely froze in the middle of the question. I'm still talking, and then I see the host ends the broadcast. That means that the broadcast had ended. I didn't get a chance to ask my question. I'm pretty sure that they were probably wondering exactly what happened because they did call me, and it was just a very frustrating situation. I'm definitely going to be giving my internet provider an earful as soon as I get a chance to, just because we pay a lot of money for, to have quality internet and things like that. Also, some just suggestions that were made, just hardwiring it to the computer. I don't have the connections here in the out of bounds office, so I'm having to use the Wi-Fi router and things like that. I might add another router or something like that just to help fortify that connection. I'm not sure really what's going on. We're still waiting on, I think they said Dennis Schroeder was up next, but I'm not really sure who's all up. I did hear them say something about Dennis showing up, but he's just not on yet. But shout out to my boy Daniel Artest. I love his show. He's doing a lot of great things. I think right now Daniel's up to 4 podcasts. He's got a great podcast network. It's called 265 Media. He's doing some really phenomenal things. We've been able to do shows together and things like that. I really love what he's doing and love how everything's coming together with his network and, the lineup that he has. A lot of basketball information, a wealth of basketball knowledge and stuff like that. Really appreciate everything that he's been able to accomplish. Really appreciate some, things that he's been able to give me advice on and stuff like that. Daniel, we got to do another show together very soon. I just really think that the world needs another podcast from us. He's doing everything. He's got his hands in everything. He's in Clubhouse. I think he does some things on Locker Room. He covered the WNBA, the NCAA. I really think that we should definitely get a show going on. Really love your content. Really love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. Right now, we're still waiting on Dennis Schroeder to be able to address the media. We've been waiting for Dennis' arrival for the last 10 minutes. So hopefully we'll be able to get a question in with Dennis the Menace, as a lot of people call him. I like calling him Dennis the Menace. But a little bit more about, this current situation that the Lakers are currently in. I want to go back to the NBA standings a little bit and dissect the Lakers' current position, because they did get a win tonight, but like I said before, Dallas is really right there on the cusp of I feel like, a couple more games and they can take over that spot, and not really knowing exactly what the impact will be if the Lakers all of a sudden lose a game and then the Mavericks start winning games and they take over that spot. I mean, it's just a place where the Lakers don't want to be right now. Daniel, rings is coming soon. Lakers podcast on creating for. Oh yeah, definitely. We got to definitely collab on that. If you got Lakers podcast coming, we definitely got to collab on that one. I feel like the world needs the Lakers in the championship situation. We've waited so long, before the bubble, for the Lakers to finally come and announce their presence in the postseason. And the first time the Lakers get back into the postseason, they win a championship. The Lakers have too much star power. I don't think anybody could match up well with a healthy Lakers team. You have LeBron, you have Anthony Davis, you have Andre Drummond. I don't feel like any other team currently is going to match up well with them. A lot of people had Brooklyn high. And if you look at that team, just looking at it on paper, oh yeah, they're going to win a championship together. But this team has only played teams with their big three. The question that I have, and if Daniel, if you're still in the chat, I see Big Baby in there as well. But anybody can answer this question. What does it do for the integrity of the NBA if so to speak, that the Nets do win the championship and they didn't have the chemistry, that people talk about, having chemistry and having continuity and things like that, what people, teams are built on? What does that do for the integrity of the NBA that a team can just throw guys together and win a title? What does that say about the league? What does that say about the integrity? What does that say about the the overall hard work that it takes to build a team and to have this continuity, to have this chemistry, and have guys come together to be able to, go through adversity and ultimately win a championship. So that means that we can actually construct a team, say, hey, I'm gonna go grab this guy over here, I'm gonna grab this guy over here, and we're gonna just playground it and win a championship. What do you guys think about that? You can answer that question in the chat if you're still available. Anybody that's free to answer that question. What do you think about the integrity of the league? I'm going to post that in the chat and see if we can get someone to ask that question. I'm gonna create a banner for it. What does it do for the league if the Nets win the title without playing together? All right, got that posted. So that's the question. Shout out to Big Baby. I appreciate that, man. I'm just trying to stay consistent as much as possible. Big Baby, if you're online right now, I do have a question that I posted on the banner. Let me know what you think. Anybody's free to answer that question. So we're gonna wait a few more minutes. I do have coverage of the Mavericks. I do want to kind of watch that game, so I could be able to provide some post game questions to some of those players. And that game is already running already, so we might miss out on Dennis because I need to get to that game because they're already in the first quarter against the Kings. And I don't like to get on the post game or shows without, actually being able to follow the game. So we'll wait a few more minutes. But if anyone is in the chat right now that, feel free to answer that question. What does it say about the league if the Nets win the title without playing their big three more than 10 games this season? Big Baby says it means chemistry and camaraderie. It doesn't matter if you have an all-star team together, which that's an interesting take. That's an interesting take. Big Baby, I'm going to, if you're available, I'm going to invite you stream before we end it. All right, there he goes, big baby. Add him to the stream. What's good, baby?
What's going on?
What's up, man? So, I mean, I like your answer to that question.
Mhm.
Just like it doesn't matter chemistry and camaraderie if they, it just goes out the window. If you able to just get some random guys together,
Mhm.
it just does something to the integrity of the league and things like that. So, what are your overall thoughts? Provide some context to this take.
Just in general, man, like you can, if KD, James Harden, Kyrie win championships without only playing 10 games together, it just shows that those three players, KD, Kyrie, and James Harden, were just great this season. You know what I mean? But like you said, chemistry and camaraderie does matter. But if they won it this year with only 10 games, that's going to be crazy. I don't think it's any super team in NBA history only played 10 games together and won a championship. So I will see what happens. We'll see. They got to get it done. But you know how I am about Brooklyn. And KD, you know how I feel about him too. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens there.
Talk about your KD experience because you had an interaction with KD. So,
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I got into it with him on Instagram. When he was with the Golden State Warriors, I said, "I'm gonna keep it real." I always keep it real on other people's shows. I told him he ruined the NBA for going to the Warriors, and he responded with, "I love you too." And I was like, "Why is that a sarcastic comment?" He's like, "This comments you making, I have every reason to comment back." And I did ask him to come on my podcast, and you know what he said? He said that wouldn't make sense because you don't have enough of an audience. And I took that to heart. That really pissed me off. And I'm gonna keep it real. I screenshotted it and used that as motivation to get better at podcasting. So Kevin Durant, thank you for talking mess to me. I appreciate you. I thank you for doing that. I appreciate you.
You recently also were involved with a Zoom with the 7-time Laker great Robert Big Shot Horry.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that experience and what was the conversation like? And overall, like, how do you feel about you being able to start where you came from and to be able to have opportunities to be able to talk to guys of that stature, guys that's been in won championships and things like that. I mean, Robert Horry is like synonymous with winning championship. Every time you think about Robert Horry, he's been in a situation where he's won a title. Almost every team he's been on, he's won a NBA championship. So just, I guess, talk about that experience, being able to speak to him.
It was a great experience. The Toyota and the Lakers came up with together, and there was an event with Mike Trudell, Robert Horry, the Laker girls. It was an event, and the reason I got invited to the event is because they said, tell us why you became a Laker fan. And I said, I'm very passionate about my Lakers through the thick and thin. I have a podcast, Big Baby Sports. Got the notification, got the invite, and I came on, and because Mike Trudell was like, anybody have questions for Robert Horry? And I raise your hand. I raise my hand. And I go, this is Big Baby of Big Baby Sports. And Robert Horry's like, what up? What up, Big Baby? So what's your question? I was like, I just want to tell you, keep the great work. Love your energy. You keep it real on your channel. And I was wondering, I always keep it real too, man. I was wondering if I could get you on Big Baby Sports. He's like, I knew who Big Baby is, holla at me after the stream or after the Zoom call. That's all I'm going to say. So, and as far as where I'm at, where I was before to where I am now, that means my hard work is paying off, but job ain't done yet for me, job ain't done. One of my goals is to have 1,000 subscribers. I'm 494 away from that goal, and marathon continues, man. I'm putting my blood, sweat, and tears, and just keep it real. I think me just doing solo shows for right now is the best season for me, and that's what I'm going to do.
You a lot of different shows lately. I think the last one I was doing, saw that you were doing like a reaction show. Could you kind of go into what that is? Like, what are you, what are those type of shows and things like that? And what was the overall thought process when you want to dive into reaction shows?
It's called my new show on my Big Baby Sports podcast. It's called Big Baby Reacts, man. Just in general, I know these YouTubers. His name is Flight Reacts. He does his reactions off of gaming. My other favorite YouTuber, Ty the Guy, he does reactions off of music. And I was like, you know what? Let me just try Big Baby Reacts, and it just clicked. And I did Big Baby Reacts, it clicked. I did Big Jonathan Software Reacts, that didn't click. So I was like, no, just stick to Big Baby, and I implemented that, and it was the best decision for me. I'm getting a lot of comments, feedbacks on the stream about Big Baby Reacts. I did 2 shows already on Big Baby Reacts about Stephen A. Smith panicking about AD, went 2 for 10, and then Shannon Sharp and Skate Bayless said accurate about that today. So overall, Big Baby Reacts is a good thing for me.
Looks like we got Dennis. Let me get back to that.
Mike?
Hey, Dennis, I don't know how much you pay individual plus minus in a game, but yours up there tonight, plus 23. Obviously went on the court much in that second quarter run. Was there something that you felt like you were able to control in terms of tempo or competitiveness of your teammates when you were out there tonight?
Like the physicality with guys kind of fed off that. Did you get that sense that?
I think it was just a great team effort. I think everybody, had a defense first mindset. We got stopped, and AD got it going early. KCP, cool. We was playing with pace. So in the second quarter was a little, we got a little bit away from it. But overall, the whole night, we was able to get stops and run. And that's what I try to do, every time.
Yeah, Dennis, so last 3 games you've had at least 10 assists and then only 2 turnovers in 2 of the games. How do you gauge that stat in terms of assists and taking care of the basketball, and how do you think that's played out for your floor game as a point guard?
I got to take care of the ball. I've been careless. I've said that before. I just try to make the right play. I'm a little careful. I'm still aggressive, looking for my teammates, but just in a different way. I've been talking to J Kidd a lot. So he helping me with it as well. And just being aggressive, try to attack the rim, and then just try to look for my teammates, and I think it opens up, for me late in the game as well, like it did today. Set up, my teammates, early, and then I was a little aggressive, in the fourth quarter.
And then, Des, just to follow up on what you said about Jason Kidd, I wondered how much of his career you were able to watch when you were growing up in Germany, and then just what he's been specifically telling you about the position that you've thought was helpful.
He's the best who ever played this, in this position, point guard. So I've been talking to him. I told him, even talk even more to me, and guy who coming up to me and say, Dennis, look for this, or Dennis, look for that, or be more aggressive, or look for your teammates. So he knows. He's been doing it, he did it for a long time, in the best league in the world, and as a coach, try to.
Dave?
Dennis, how important do you feel like your individual role will be with this Lakers team in terms of the ability for the group to reach the ultimate prize?
Jared Dudley always comes to me, and says, listen, you're the guy, LeBron gonna do his thing, and I think we got still a lot of firepower in this locker room, but when it comes to floor general, get a bucket if we need to, hold it down when LeBron is not on the floor, whatever it is, I try to help my team with that. And like I said, I'm ready, whatever comes, I will take the challenge, and, I try to get to that ultimate goal.
Dan?
Hey, Dennis. I'm curious kind of what you think the biggest challenge this group is going to face over these next 11 games as you get into the playoffs.
I think we just got to play our best basketball heading into the season, into the playoffs, sorry. I think that's our goal right now, try to get as much wins as possible as a team. On the defensive end, really lock in and, able to adjust to, hot players or elite point guards, elite bigs, whatever it is, to really lock in and get stopped. And I think in the first, keep building from here. And it's 11 games out. We it's no excuse. Brown is about to come back soon too, hopefully, and then it's on.
Couple more.
Hey, Dennis. Going back to Dave's question, Frank said that a silver lining to this whole situation that you've been dealing with being so short-handed over the last few weeks is that you've had the ball more in your hands and grow more comfortable with your teammates without LeBron on the floor. Do you view that the same way? And in the bigger picture, what do you think you guys have learned offensively during the stretch without LeBron?
It's LeBron. Without him, of course, I handle the ball more. But I think we all, like KCP's aggressiveness changed, but he can't change it when LeBron comes back. And that's what we've been talking about. And that's what, LeBron's saying to us as guys, when we, playing, we got to all be aggressive like that. So I think that he comes back. He always tells me, Dennis, you got to be aggressive. You're not just a normal point guard. You do your shit. And we really excited, to get started again with him soon. And then, like I said, we're going to be ready.
Last question, Calgoon.
Hey, Dennis, what do you know about LeBron's sort of what he's been able to do in a court? He posted a video to social media, obviously, this morning. What have you kind of seen from him, and what makes you say LeBron's coming back soon?
I know, but it's probably the Lakers organization who's going to tell you guys. He's close. I can tell you that much. So we can't wait for him to get back, help us, win games again, and be together, at the right time with like 10 games in, 11 games in, and then, like I said, get to work.
Thank you, Dennis.
All right, thanks.
So that's going to wrap up the show for tonight. Big Baby, we were able to hear from Dennis the Menace, the Lakers point guard. What do you think about, Dennis for this team going into the playoffs?
It's going to help. I like his aggressiveness. I like his mid-range jumper. He's playing the point guard role, like bring up the ball, telling where the people to go. Drummond sets the screen. He pulls up that mid-range jumper, man. He's improving a lot. I like that mid-range jumper. He's attacking the lane, and he's competitive. Very, very competitive. I like his energy, his hustle. Just he has that don't get crazy. People listen to us. He kind of has like Westbrook attitude, just that hard-fought attitude. He'd be talking mess. He was talking to Cole Anthony when he shot that mid-range on him. He was talking, and Cole Aldridge shot it back on him. I just like that competitive fire from shooters. So it's going to be big for us in the coming to playoffs, because there's going to be a time point where LeBron's on the bench, AD's on the bench, and someone's going to take over the Lord of the scoring. I feel like Dennis Schroeder's going to do that for us.
Man, I love the way Dennis attacks the rim. I can see what you're getting at. I know that you're not making the comparison, but you're just drawing some kind of so people can understand where you're coming from and what impact that he has. But he's fearless. He's about 6'1", 170, and he doesn't care who's up there. Like, he's gonna attack the rim aggressively and things like that. He can put the ball on the floor. He can get others involved. He can find his own offense and things like that. They're going to need a point guard like that, because I don't really particularly like LeBron being on the ball as often as he was when he was in the bubble. I like to have that point guard, that pure point guard that can get guys involved. Now, I don't know if he's going to provide the same impact that Rondo did last year in the bubble, but, I think that this is a great runner-up to have. This is a guy that He's hungry. He wants to, win, and you can just tell that he's having fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. And plus, too, I'm glad we didn't trade him for Kyle Lowry. Like now, like Shooter's playing really well, like his game, and we need him. So I'm excited. I'm glad that we didn't trade Dennis Shooter because there's rumors of him getting traded at deadline. But I'm glad we didn't pull the trigger on it, man, because he's very valuable to our offense.
Yeah, most definitely. He's very valuable. The THT was also involved in those conversations as well. Overall, before we go, can you touch on THT's value to this team, and what do you personally feel about his impact on this Lakers roster?
THT's value is very high. The Lakers didn't trade him. They see big potential. He's playing tremendous this season, man. He's improved from last season. This season, his energy, his attacking the lane, mid-range, his passing ability is doing good. There's some times where he goes through his growing pains, but they got the veterans over there, LeBron, AD, Jason Kidd on the sideline that could teach him. Jason Kidd's one up there point guards, man. So he has that veteran leadership around him already. So THT's going. I won't be surprised if THT's going to be starting in the next couple of years. If Shooter leaves, I feel like THT's going to take over that point guard position in the next couple of years.
And that's a realistic conversation to have. What is Dennis Schroeder contract situation going to be? Is he going to resign? Why didn't he sign the $85 million extension that he turned down? The Lakers came to him, brought that to his attention. That was, a pretty generous contract. I think that it was. I don't think that it was a disrespectful contract or anything like that, because, I think it was, it was a good deal. Why do you think that he turned that down?
Probably feel like he's more than, I think, 4 years, $84 million, somewhere around there. Maybe he can prove to show the Lakers, pay me more, I'm gonna ball out, and that's what he's balling out. Maybe Lakers can give him a contract. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens at the end of the season and see if Lakers repeat. I have a feeling, I have all the confidence we will, but it's the NBA. You never know what can happen, but we'll see what happens at season's end.
Now, I'm going to close with this. I want to be able to, let people know this. If they lose Dennis Schroeder to free agent, it doesn't free up money. That doesn't free up money. That doesn't free up like, okay, we can just go sign somebody else. That's not the case. And if you do not secure him, I don't see anybody on the market that's going to be able to fill in and provide what he's able to do. So right now, he's our only option. Anything else that we have on the roster is developing. We know what we're going to get from Dennis Schroeder. We're going to get that. He's going to be able to get guys involved in the office and things like that. He has veteran leadership as well. I just like his overall attitude and what he brings to the table for this team. And if they lose him, it's going to be a devastating blow. So I'm really hoping that the Lakers don't let this X and think that we can just be able to just grab anybody and be able to fill that void, because it's definitely going to leave a very big hole to fill. Losing him, knowing that we'll be able to get anybody comparable to what he's able to do. Because of the monetary aspect, they're not going to be able to all of a sudden free up money if he leaves.
Yeah, most definitely, man. If he leaves, it'll be big hole in our offense. And I feel like Lakers are going to get a deal done with Schroeder. But if he leaves, that's why I said I feel like, let's say if Schroeder leaves to a different team, then I feel like that's when Lakers will say, THT, go start and see what you can do as a starter. You know what I mean? So it's plan A to keep Schroeder. But if he leaves, they got THT as a backup. You're not saying that THT is going to do the numbers like Schroeder, but I feel like it will just be, for right now, go start point guard position, see what you can do. And we're going to try to figure something out as a point guard position as of right now.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that, the focus should be at the end of the season to lock up Schroeder. Also, not sure what Andre Drummond's situation is contractually. That would be another one that they need to focus on to make sure that he's intact as well. But I'm gonna end the show on that note. I thank you, Big Baby, for stopping by and being a constant contributor to the show. You have been phenomenal. You've been lights out with your show and things like that. And let everyone know where they can follow you at.
Before I say where you guys can watch it, shout out to Say It Again Network and shout to Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. You guys can find me on YouTube, Big Baby Sports Podcast. Find me on Apple Podcasts, Big Baby Sports. So everything you search for me on social media, just Big Baby Sports, Big Baby. You know where to find me, man. Corey, always a pleasure doing shows with you, man. And I'm gonna be DMing you for the next show to come on my channel.
Let's go. We're gonna get it done. Thank you again for listening, everyone. That's Big Baby from Big Baby Sports Podcast. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. We're going to go ahead and end the show on that note. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace.
Welcome to the Sports Podcast.